What's up, Pandeez?
You're listening to the Pandesoul podcast.
Join us as we unpack the flavors of being Filipino
and American. We're your hosts, Dre Magix, the fictitious professor, and EJ Villaman.
And we hope you're hungry.
Because there's plenty to go around. What's up, Pandeez? Welcome back to another episode of Pandesoul podcast, the funniest podcast on the internet. We're your hosts, the Dre Magix, fictitious professor, and EJ Villaman. And let's just get into it, because there's no other... We can't get out.
So, yeah, well, we already did get out.
Yeah. So we all have Filipino moms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. My mom's Filipino, too.
Mine also.
Yeah. Oh, my mom is Filipino.
I like how the one not questioning it is the one in question. My mom's hella Filipino.
My mom's been getting more Filipino as the years go on, and she's only been back to the Philippines once.
Really?
Like, where's this influence?
Okay, so that's interesting because, well, first of all, it's May. It's May.
It's might.
Dope stuff is in May, such as Mother's Day and FilAm Heritage Month.
Heritage is the correct one for May, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Heritage, yeah.
October is history.
History.
Tomorrow's a mystery.
Today's a gift.
Today's a gift.
That's why they call it the present.
The present.
Present.
Okay, Master Ugwe.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtle.
What's the fucking the Filipino version?
Oh, ito.
Ito. Tomorrow's gone. Yesterday is gone. Today will be gone soon. Bigan City.
Bigan City, Philippines.
Yeah.
Kaibigan.
Kaibigan City. Yeah, Mother's Day. I feel like it's weird to call your parents immigrants, right? But like,
what? That's what they are.
No, it sounds like, I don't know.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I'm not white, but like,
right.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, as immigrants, like, stay here and aren't as connected to the physical, like they don't go back often.
Yeah.
I think they hold on to it more, and so they overcompensate with like the accent or the. What were we talking
Parents
about?
are immigrants.
Oh yeah. So I feel like they hold on to the culture harder.
Yeah, my mom would always refer to the Philippines as back home. But I'm like,
Still do.
yeah, but it's like she only had been there once, and even when we went back, it was after 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like completely changed.
Yeah.
For her, from like all her previous memories.
Yeah. But she like lives in that time capsule though of like when she grew up, right?
Right.
Like so like that's why she's like it's home.
Yeah,
like,
definitely like nostalgic and stuff.
I was watching this comedy special, and the guy said, "Your parents' version of their home country does not exist."
Right.
That's deep.
How do you feel about that? Because then
Yeah.
you know you relate to what you're going through in your own culture.
Right. And it's like the parents raised us for a world that no longer exists.
Do you think your parents raised you for a world over there or a world over here?
Just doing their best.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
Just trying to make us survive.
I think we just blew EJ's.
His poet.
I'm like thinking about it. Like, yeah, they did. I feel like they did kind of raise at least me. I speak for myself and maybe my sister. Like,
I'm not gonna speak for anybody else except for me
and my sister and my whole community.
Yeah. And my number one fan.
The Philippine diaspora.
Yeah. Is it diaspora or diaspora?
It's diaper.
It's diapumpers.
Bumpers or papers?
I don't know. I've heard diaspora as like two different things.
Diaspora is to aspora.
Yeah.
There's diaspora is everybody. I don't know.
What?
Diaspora, the friendly ghost.
There it is.
I see, like,
So anyway,
when you don't know how to pronounce something, just put a Tagalog accent on it.
Jaspera.
Jaspera.
That's from 101
Jaswa?
Dalmatians.
No, that's the guy from this the dog from Chuck E. Cheese. Jaspera.
Jaspera.
You know the cowboy?
Cowboy.
Cowboy.
I don't know.
Cowboy kulangot. Go ahead.
No, like I felt like my mom and dad, but this is about mom. So like I
It's
felt
her
like
day.
they
So she gets the blame.
She
it's
gets
her fault.
Hold on, time.
He's just driving the bus.
On Mother's Day. On Mother's Day. I turned up fucked up. It's your fault, Mom.
It's you.
We're honoring you.
Happy
You're the
Mother-
one.
Happy Mother's Day.
You is the one.
Yeah.
The most.
Sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, no, I feel like they did raise me for what they thought America was supposed to be or was at that time.
How it was like marketed to them.
Yeah, and like hasn't grown out of that time.
Fucking America, the mountain of gold.
Correct. The Reagan at America.
Bruh.
But yeah, I
That sounds like a chocolate bar.
Reagan America.
Reagan at America.
Reagan, that's America.
It's not as good as Mounds.
No, yeah, I get that. I feel like I was raised for their version of America, but they still hold on to their version of the Philippines. And the way I was raised was their idealistic America from the Philippines.
Got it.
From the point of view of the Philippines.
Yeah. That's true. That's an interesting point because then,
Yeah.
as you said that, and I thought about there are times where, because I'm part of that generation where the parents didn't teach their kids like the native language. Like my family speaks Visayan, so they didn't teach me Visayan. So they wanted me to assimilate quicker. But then when I identify or recognize something that's like culturally Filipino, they're like, "Oh, where did you learn that? Who taught you that?" I'm like, "This is our culture. I'm supposed to know this." They're
Yeah.
like surprised that I either like
Found
figured
it
it
somewhere
out
else,
or
yeah.
they didn't think that I knew or like was aware of it.
Yeah.
So I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Where did you learn this kung fu?
Where did you learn this balintawak?
Yeah. No, yeah, and it's interesting because I think about this a lot because we fight for
All right.
to party. And our left hand.
To flirty.
That is right.
Yeah.
This is left. Here is the middle.
Because we have the podcast. Dog. You know, that's a good way to improve your English, though. Like to get rid of all the shit words, like ha,
Ha?
Yeah.
dog, or like dog.
Yung dog.
Yung dog.
Yung ano?
No dog.
Yeah.
Yung ow ow ow.
Ow, ow.
R.
Good dog.
God damn it, we can't make a point.
We made the point.
Your point is being made.
Dang.
You're a dog.
You're a dog.
You're a doggable.
Just kidding. It's okay. Sorry.
What the fuck was I talking about? I lost it too. I was laughing.
We're all losing it.
Welcome back to another.
Reset.
Oh no, I found it.
Okay, okay, good.
At first I was lost, now I'm found.
Amazing Grace.
Yeah, Amazing Grace.
Now you're petrified.
And now I'm back from outer space.
Dang, ground control to Mr. Tom.
Eagle 1. This is Eagle 2.
Eagle 2, this is Eagle 1.
Ready to commence mission. Because we have the podcast and we fight for Filipino representation and all these things.
That's where it got off track.
Yeah,
I was like,
no.
where did
I just found it.
Where did we derail?
I just found it again.
Dang.
We fight for Filipino representation and the proper way to represent your culture,
Right.
especially coming from other cultures, right? To
Right.
pay homage to our own,
Yep.
and how it makes us feel when it's done improperly. All those things. When we're speaking about how we were raised, it might be construed as a little bit spiteful or a little bit ungrateful.
Sure.
And I had to think about that for myself, where although the elder generation might think of it that way, I'm
Right.
not at all that. Like, I'm super grateful and I'm very appreciative of my parents doing their best to assimilate to this culture, as well as teaching me still some of the Filipino culture.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And they've adapted to the parts of the American culture that I needed the most, which is allowing me to be an artist and follow my dreams, or not really being fluent in communicating in Tagalog,
Yeah.
or some other values that are from the old country and even the colonized Philippines version,
Right.
colonized version of the Philippines. But I think for myself, I'm very appreciative of how I was raised and how, like, for lack of a better term, how cool my parents have been with all the shit I do, because I hear stories from other people and their parents, and I would have gotten my ass beat so many times for doing the shit I do and saying the things I say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's not to say I'm not responsible for what I said, because if I mess up, I'll try and apologize and make it right.
Sure.
Right.
But that also doesn't mean I'm not going to waver from my own beliefs.
Yeah, that's
Right. And because we're a fucking comedy podcast,
Laugh.
but also us as comedy creators stand by our material.
Stand-up comedy.
Stand up comedy.
Right.
Sit down, lie down, bent over, doggy. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's mine.
Yeah.
Doggy?
That's me.
Because it's like,
Hot dog.
yeah. I mean, it's like our jobs as creatives, just like observe something, comment on it, and then encourage folks to either like take action or like, oh, I resonate with it, or like react
Yeah.
in whatever way that is.
But also like standing your ground, because we know so many people, and we've talked about it before, that would make the joke and, oh, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Right. As opposed to us, we're just kidding. It's, like, I'm not taking it back, but understand it's from a place of entertainment or connection or comedy.
Right.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day.
Fucking Mother's Day.
No, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, we all started at the same time, the pod, because it's our pod or whatever. But
We're the piece in the pod.
yeah. Oh, nice.
We're three-piece.
No, three-piece suit.
Three-piece.
Three-piece suit pod.
Dang. At least
We
we're
didn't-
not E-piece.
Yeah, we didn't tie our shoes, so we're three-piece. On the floor.
We're not bugs. We're not E-piece. Yeah, but
You jerk.
what are y'all thoughts on the reception of our material, like online, but also, do you think you're representing the culture well, or do you have guilt about it?
Walang hiya.
Well, yeah.
I really don't feel any guilt, but I'm also a very fairly laid back person, so I don't really get fazed by whatever people say online, because everyone's gonna have their piece. But when we're saying our shit, it's because it's something that we observe. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just from our eyes. It's something I saw when I grew up, and
it's our own personal observations, and it doesn't negate somebody else's experience. We're just talking about, this is how we experience, this is how we see the world.
Okay, so I wanna highlight it's our personal experience, and it doesn't take away from their experience.
Correct.
Do you think the people that are commenting on they're injecting their values into our content through comments or whatever? Do you think our experience invalidates theirs, or it's that relationship between the two?
It innately doesn't, but just the way that certain cultures, or even just human biases, it's the negativity bias, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's it'll serve me as survival to assume that this person is hostile or against me, because that's kind of a primal instinct.
Yeah.
But in modern world, it's that's not the case. So it's for me to say that my mom's Filipino, my dad's Jewish, so then it's I still have the Filipino experience, and for somebody to be oh, you don't have the full Filipino experience because you're mixed, is invalidating my experience. But I'm I still had a full Filipino experience, even though biologically I'm 50%. But even then, it's the percentage isn't as important as the relation to the culture.
Right.
Yeah. No, I forgot what I was gonna say. Because yours was so fucking deep.
Damn.
So deep.
Mm-hmm.
Put that ass to sleep.
Yeah, there it is.
Got him.
Got him. So in Filipino Heritage Month, right, there's this kind of thing in the Filipino community. What are the problems in the Filipino community that you think should be altered, or ways of thinking, or... Because the goal is...
Yeah, I think even what we've already been talking about is kind of an example of crab mentality.
Yeah.
Where it's we're talking about our own personal experiences, and it doesn't diminish anybody else. So then it's there's no reason for anybody else to tear us down because we're trying to build something of our own.
Right.
So then it's having that community support in anything that, as we're building this, and then as our own like individual careers building.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like promoting and supporting, in order to remove crab mentality.
You said crab mentality or crowd?
Crab mentality.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. Have you ever played with crabs at Seafood City?
Yes.
So when you pick one
All
up,
of us.
they all grab each other.
Yes.
So that's the kind of the analogy of crab mentality.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's like crabs, even if like a
Like-
crab is trying to crawl out on its own,
Yeah.
all the other ones will bring it back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
That's my favorite thing to do when I go to like Seafood City or 99
Yeah.
Ranch. Just like tap all the crabs. with
Yeah.
just harass them.
the tongues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, you're the colonizer. You're the oppressor.
Dang, you probably
I stirred the bucket.
Yeah.
boiled the water with the crabs in them, huh?
Damn, I ate
Yeah.
that taba.
Dang, mix
I
it with
did
the
that
rice.
too.
Crab fried rice.
Hey.
Game over.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what kind of habits or kind of
Or lack of
traits?
habits.
Yeah. Do you think should be altered or like what is the goal? We want to improve the whole community,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of weird for me because like, I feel like one, maybe not really a problem, but a thing that I noticed is like, there was always some sort of force feeding the narrative that like I'm Filipino and I have to tell like this Filipino story and it has to be so Filipino and blah blah blah. And I get it. I get why people want to do it because like, there's not that many stories out there that are shared and told by the right people. But
Right.
also like, I feel like we have to find that balance of like, oh, I'm telling the story and I just happen to be a Filipino. Like I am this artist and I just happen to be a Filipino artist. That I take some things from my experiences as a Filipino person and apply it into what I enjoy doing or what I want to share with the world. Not really force feeding like, oh, I am this from there and I want like
Yeah.
everyone to know.
Yeah.
And like I kind of get it though. I get why, because like when you're growing up,
Yeah, you want to be represented.
Yeah.
there's not many of these stories, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's because of how I grew up. Like I grew up in a very like mixed, mainly white predominant like city, so it's like I already knew what it felt like to be a minority, and I felt like not put in my place, but I felt like, okay, like I'm a minority, like now what?
Like a token type thing?
Not even like a token. Like I didn't feel like oh, this dude's Filipino, or like, oh, Manny Pacquiao, blah blah blah. Or that happened and I wasn't really fazed by it. I'm not sure. I just don't know how to like.
Oh, was that like your upbringing or like your hardwired DNA to just be like, yeah?
Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird because like
Or
I
wasn't
never
as,
really
like-
took offense to that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't.
Right.
Or
like
it wasn't
was
like prioritized in your family. Like you didn't learn it as something culturally significant.
no.
Yeah.
So with my family, it was like I knew I was Filipino.
Right.
Like we had Filipino whatever gatherings. They spoke Tagalog at home.
Bomba
with, like,
tapes.
Bomba tapes, everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Bring your mic up higher.
Everything. Oh yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, I was very, very Filipino at home, and then when I was at school or with friends, like, I did have Filipino friends in high school at least, and in elementary school it was very mixed. But like, we grew up in a really white neighborhood. And
Right. So there wasn't like as much like celebration for Filipino avatars, so to speak, because it's like Pacquiao is
Oh, avatars is a good concept.
because like
Yeah.
Pacquiao is the avatar of like Filipino fight culture. Because at the it's like you shared in a certain episode the origin of modern boxing came from
Right,
Philippines.
right.
yeah.
So then it's like for it to be.
You mean it wasn't Brandon Vera or Mark Munoz?
It's like a full circle moment where there's like
Yeah.
a world champion
Oh yeah.
from the origin of the modern version of the sport.
So like that's interesting because that came up when I was in college and I was already part of a Filipino organization, which kind of like
The
opened.
boxing thing?
No, Manny Pacquiao. Like
Okay.
But yeah, like I think when I first opened my eyes to like, oh, there's a lot of people that are Filipino, was like, I think my friend group when I was in 8th grade, like I don't know, these like brown people came up to you and like wanted to hang out. They're like, oh, this guy must be Filipino, and then like we all went to church together, and like it just kind of happened as opposed to like I chose to be with people. If that makes sense.
Oh, it happened more organically.
Yeah, so that's
you
why
were recruited.
I don't know. It's kind of weird now. I'm thinking about it. Shoot,
Damn, you're just a cog in the piece.
Identity
In
crisis.
the machine.
I am just a piece of the rage in the machine.
Just another.
Just another day.
Just another coconut in the halo halo.
Oh, it's.
Red bean.
Oh man, I really like the red bean. Red bean's pretty good.
Corn.
You mean kulangot?
Kalangot.
You don't have many kalangots in my rug.
No, yeah, it's
That's weird.
it's a really interesting thing when you unlock your identity.
Identity unlocked.
Yeah. You like your cultural identity and where you're actually comfortable calling yourself Filipino or
Right.
even comfortable identifying as this thing, right? In high school, it was like the worst thing to be fucking Filipino. It was like, it's because if you're a Filipino, you're automatically a fob. Like in my high school, right?
But you grew up with a lot of Filipinos.
Right. And so that was crab mentality of like, there's this hierarchy of the ones that spoke Tagalog at school and, did that. And then the ones that were like very westernized and academic they were both academic focused,
Right.
but these ones spoke English without an accent. And these ones hung out with not those ones.
Right.
Right. So even then there was a crab mentality, right?
Damn.
And I think as an adult, if I'll ever get there, unifying just the community as a whole, because there's so many organizations.
Right.
Don't take this the wrong way. Also, comedy podcast. But why the fuck do we need so many organizations? I take it some of them do different things,
Right.
but most of them do nothing. And whether it's lack of funding, then fucking help each other to get funding.
Right.
And I know it's easier said than done, but imagine how less funny this pod would be with just one of us. You know what I mean?
I think I don't know. I think if two of us, less funny. If it was just one of us, depending on who it was, it'd be more funny.
Okay, walk me through the
Because
thing.
if it
Walk me
was
through the
EJ
shit.
just talking about himself to himself, that would be hilarious.
I do that in the toilet all the time.
If it's me, it'd just be like me breathing on the mic, so
Yeah.
it's less funny.
I think mine would just be confusing.
Yeah, you're just
Kalat.
It would be so caught out. It would be like, so there was like a. Hold on, let me look this up.
right.
And then
And then going down rabbit holes.
and then I'm like, oh,
not-
sorry, hold
not
on,
saying
Instagram.
anything. Yeah. Just getting
That
distracted.
would just be my whole thing. But you know what I mean, where there's so much that can be done when you work together if you're like-minded, right? And now, look, we live in LA. There are some really dope organizations out here. Shout out to SIPA. Shout out to Palms Up Academy. Y'all are doing really good things that are worth commending.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you have any other ones, shout them out. Dude, Parks Finest, dope.
Yeah.
They do so much for the community.
PWC.
PWC, Hi-Fi Kitchen, dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cafe 86, amazing. So much
Yeah.
for the community. But there are some other organizations, and I don't want to name names because they might book me in the future.
And then your opinion will change.
Yeah. That if they would just swallow a little bit of pride and ask for help
Yeah.
with the right people, representation would be much easier in LA.
Right.
And that's, Heritage Month. Goals. If not this year, then when?
October.
October.
We have
You
another
can't-
chance.
You can't just, we have 3 chances a year. You keep fucking it up.
Yeah. We have April, May,
June,
October.
July, August.
The Burr months.
Yeah.
Do you know any in OC?
Any Filipinos?
Any
You
that's
live-
me.
You live there.
Your mom.
What do you mean, like
Your
organizations?
organizations in OC?
Well, I know Cafe 86 is a business that
That
does
is
a lot of community work.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're Artisha.
Maartisha?
Dude,
Cerritos.
I know. I think either the mayor or the councilwoman of Artesia is a Filipina.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the
That's
mayor?
still LA
remember.
County. For you
That's true.
listeners there.
Cerritos.
Excuse, pardon
Is
me.
there any OC? Oh yeah, in Artesia. Is there any OC?
Oh, see?
Oh.
Oh, see? Tingnan mo.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry na.
Pasensya. Sabi ko sorry. Nakakainis.
Kakainis. Yeah, you know what? I know a lot of them are collegiate-based organizations.
Wait, don't you work for that one?
What did they call them?
Is
Egypt?
Huh?
Call Egypts?
Collegiates.
That's
Some
your
of them
name,
are
EJ.
smart.
Yeah. EJ.
EJ, it's you.
Yeah, no, I know,
maybe,
I know them.
I mean, maybe we should research that.
Yeah.
In the comments.
In the comments.
Yeah.
If
Drop
you do
down
any,
your-
Send us a DM.
Yeah, I know a lot of organizations in the OC are blanketed
Orange.
Asian American
Yeah.
and not specifically Filipino American.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe that's our research to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
or share with us if you're part of that.
Utos.
Tag us.
You do it.
Tag you're it.
Invite us to do
Tag you're it. That's a good segment.
work
Yeah.
with your organization. He
Uh,
does magic.
oh yeah.
He is magic.
Dang.
I'm
And
sick.
he does.
He tastes like magic. Magic syrup.
I have a bag of candy
In the van.
from Halloween
Dang.
and payaya,
Ampalaya.
Sampalaya.
sampalaya.
That's good.
Dang.
That's a good one.
It's gonna slap you with flavor.
It bitter.
Sasampalaya.
Bitter sa flavor.
Bitter.
It's bitter.
It's
Slap
bitter.
me.
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow.
Crunch.
Fitness.
Fitness.
Pin this thing in your mouth.
Oh, come on.
Dang.
This is it. This is our pod.
This is our riff.
Yeah.
These are the
Dude,
riffs.
it gets so serious and then like derails so.
Yeah.
I won't have it
But
any
that's
other
where
way.
we find
So-
home.
Yeah.
Heritage Month
Along the realize.
along the diles
Along the realize.
for dilisation.
Along the deal list.
Dang, dude.
Heritage or history? I was
Heritage is May. I just learned about this.
today.
That's my story.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
I really
your
did.
history.
It's your heritage.
Yeah, I didn't know it was Heritage Month. Like, it's kind of neat.
So what do you think the difference is?
I feel like Heritage
The
is more of
The types of
price of brooking.
yes,
the types of events.
the clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Heritage is more of like
Heritage.
the culture at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
With respect to some culture of the past, and
Yeah.
but like I feel like it is the culture at the moment. Like what they're up to, it's kind of cool. And then history is like history.
Soft pitch. This is what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
For real, why don't we throw a Kalakon? Just like a dope festival.
In the summer?
Whenever,
October.
when we have time.
Bruh.
So like next year for sure.
Tomorrow.
Sometime in the
No,
future.
but like, how do you think we're gonna unify all these things, all these people?
They're all Filipino. That's the unification.
Yeah.
Right, but
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm not.
in theory, that is correct. In practice,
Incorrect.
how?
How
Hot dog. You're gonna do the same
No
shit
Yes, I was and is and forever will be.
all
don't
at
do,
once.
don't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's bad.
Hot dog. How do I live without you?
It's okay. It's okay.
I told you not to give me wine.
Why not? Because this.
So, how do you want to get the congregation?
how do you urinate?
You're a
Unify.
10.
How do you unify a culture that's so used to working as I was talking to my friend and he was telling me the Philippines is used to working in tribes, which is dope
Yeah.
because we're also made of 7,000 islands, right?
Plus, yeah.
But we're not used to working as a unified force.
Okay.
Right. Fighting force.
How do we change that? Also, number one, is it our responsibility to change that? Number two, how?
I think it's something
Which
we.
kind of answers question one.
I think it's something we need to be leaning into more.
Right.
Because I've been seeing some TikToks of people observing American culture specifically is very like isolating, and everywhere else it's like very community centered.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like here in the U.S., you go to work, you go home, and then you save all your recreation time for the weekends.
Yeah.
But elsewhere, it's like you go to work, you come home, and then you hang out with your like people, like friends, family, have like
this.
like communal recreation time.
Yeah.
So that way, there's more of a community. And like this one person I saw, he's like, yeah, he's had friends that he's grown like literally known ever since he could remember.
Mm-hmm.
And like they fight, they get mad at each other, but then they like make up, and they're still like friends. Like, they can disagree. So then it's
as
like
humans do, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So then it's like leaning more into that aspect of community, socializing, having like a support group where it's like being able to rely on other folks without it being transactional, in a sense.
That's the big thing.
That's a big.
Yeah, the big thing is the transactional part.
Yeah, because I feel like that's American culture ends up being transactional and like isolating. And it's like, you know, all of us Filipinos just grew up with a big ass family, always like seeing everyone.
It's very communal.
Yeah.
Even though they fight, even though sometimes they don't make up.
Right.
It gets really annoying.
It does.
Because you have the answers and they know the answers, but they're too prideful to not.
Here's the thing. It's not that my answer is correct. It's that you're not listening to me when I want to tell you my suggestion. Right? Because your answer might also be correct. But you don't want to tell me because you want to not speak with anyone.
Right.
And I'm not saying like I'm in a direct family conflict, maybe, whatever, but
Yeah. Hey, who asked?
in general, the issue is not wanting to hear the other party out.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're closing yourself off, and now you have to be awkward at fucking family parties.
Exactly.
Right.
Right? And now you can't celebrate not just the wins of your family, but the wins of your family's kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a terrible place to be, where like this person who has nothing to do with anything is suffering consequences.
Right.
Because the sins of my father, right?
Right.
The quote unquote sins of my father's great. He didn't do anything wrong. But like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that, if we can't solve that even at the familial level, I mean, do you think it starts macro? Or do you think it starts micro? Or just like pick one and like work for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it doesn't matter as long as it starts.
Yeah. I think it's like, you know, something that we've observed as a problem. So then it's like fixing that within our own lives and going forward, you know, like the breaking of generational curses.
Yeah, but sometimes not all problems can be solved, even if it's in your own life.
Right.
Like, for example, if you have an uncle that doesn't want to speak to you at all.
Right.
You're not going to force them to speak with you as many times as you reach out.
Right.
But at least, I guess you're okay with yourself enough to be like, hey, I tried my best. Is that?
Yeah.
And that's like, quote unquote, solving it within your own mental capacity.
Right. Yeah. And that's like the point I was bringing up is like observing these things and then doing better for future generations.
Yeah.
Because there's some things where it's like, yeah, you try your best, you do everything that you can within your power, but then it's like if you can't, then there's a point where it's up to the other person to change their ways or like even like communicates for a compromise of sorts.
Yeah.
But then if it's like if they're not open to even just having that conversation, then that's already just like a lost cause.
I think the best you can do in that situation is just like, you don't have to, I mean, obviously if they're not going to speak to you, but in your own mental capacity and spirit, you can forgive them.
Right.
Yeah.
For acting however, but also respecting their choice to not want to talk to you, which is fine also.
It's weird how all those solutions are all kind of relative.
Right.
Pun intended.
Yeah. They're all kind of relatives.
Right.
But at like an community level,
right.
How do we better ourselves as Filipino Americans, Filipinos? I don't even want to. say Filipino American anymore. Like, it's just
People.
you're all fucking Filipino, dude.
Right.
Grown up here, grown up in Canada, grown up there. Like, who fucking cares, dude? If you identify as that part of your culture, then
Only the Filipinos in the Philippines care.
I know, dude.
Actually.
No, but you know what it
Yeah.
is? I kind of understand them
Right.
also because it's a communication thing.
Yeah.
It's a language thing, right? But at the same time, they're also living under the pretense of a classist system.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
It's just within their own Filipinos.
yeah.
As opposed to us, we have other ethnicities.
Well, not just that. I mean, because at this point in my own thinking, I've not cared enough to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm just like, oh, they're cool, or like, oh, they're not cool. And that's as far as I kind of
As an
take
in-
it.
on like an individual level, right? As a person, not as
Yeah.
whatever their
Yeah,
background is.
because
yeah.
then
Person by person.
Yeah.
I feel like you're robbing yourself of so many experiences if you
Yeah.
classify them. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's time consuming, but
Right.
it's like, what else are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you're busy.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, are you really busy to do that? Like, live your life that way,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of where was I going with this before I did that whole Filipino fucking rant? I think it's how can we better ourselves as Filipinos?
Right.
I was listening to this podcast, and it's like the only good one I found on magic.
Oh.
This
And there,
Magic Arrow?
yeah, no, that one's not out yet.
Oh.
But the only active one I found on magic. But it's held by two female magicians. Or they're two magicians that are female, and a lot of their topics are representation. And it's interesting because what I strive for in my own work is cultural representation,
Mm-hmm.
and they're striving for gender representation. So it's two sides of kind of the same coin, just fought differently.
Right.
Battles fought differently,
Okay.
right?
Two different coins, but the same side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both tails.
Yeah. Ooh.
Puwet and puwet ni
Bad
Houston.
luck.
Butt luck.
But butt luck.
Mm.
The butt luck club.
Butt luck. Yeah.
Dang.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
Wow. Make
what
sure you
is-
disinfect.
What is how do we become better community members and Filipinos? And like my answer is just like support more
Salamat
shit.
sa
That's
port.
it. Yeah.
What's Apple's line? Salamat sa iyo sa porta.
Yeah. Filipino.
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 Yeah, I agree.
Hoy pare.
As a non-artist, well,
Pakinggan yoko.
Well, even
as
okay.
a person.
You play
quick.
sax. You're an artist.
Yeah.
I do play
First
with
of
my
all,
socks.
but like, even as an artist, still go and support other Filipino shit. Because I know
yeah.
for a while, when I first identified as an artist, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna do my own shit.
Sure.
But as I like matured in that headspace,
Right.
I'm like, oh, maybe I should support more Filipino artists.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like that's like for me it's a signifier of somebody who's new as an
Yeah.
artist into the scene where it's like there needs to be more like Filipino spaces, blah blah blah, and like here are some
There's so
like
many.
established ones. It's
There's
like
so many fucking spaces.
you haven't
bro.
even done like a Google search,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's like oh you haven't taken
Yeah.
a step yet,
You must be new.
or it's like let me show you this
Well, they-
greater world.
Maybe they just want it to be handed to them like their fucking childhood.
Right.
Damn, someone's salty.
No, I mean, it's real though.
Yeah, there's like an element of that where it's like wanting to be the first or fighting for like a specific type of representation, but it's like there's already somebody who is doing
There's
that.
someone who's already
so-
fought that battle.
so
or fighting
then
that
it's
battle,
like-
yeah.
It's not even like a riding on their coattails. It's more of like learning who these folks are, who are the trailblazers,
Yeah.
Sure.
like supporting them, and then even trying to emulate or get to that level. So then it's like,
Make them your
Yeah.
contemporaries.
Work
right.
with
Yeah,
them,
exactly.
fight it
Yeah,
together.
that's the exact point.
Look, that's what we've done.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just have to do the work.
Right. Yeah, work on your art. Make sure it's dope. And like
That's
authentic
another
to
thing
you.
I wanted to get to. Like, with me as an artist, but also as a selfish motherfucker, and like I get bored mad easily. you get one from me, and then you gotta earn your next one.
Right.
But that's any fucking audience,
Right.
right? You go in, the first 5 seconds is given. You gotta keep earning minutes on that shit,
Right.
right?
Dude, yeah, something that like I've never forgotten from Lady B,
Mhm.
where first going to like Palms Up and like doing the typical going on the mic, talking about self, whatever.
Disclaimer shit.
Yeah, not even just the disclaimer, just like talking before
Uh-huh.
actually doing your piece. I remember I forgot what prompted her to say this, but she was just like, "Okay, artists, don't talk, because once you start talking, you've already lost the audience."
Your time, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously like time starts first
Yeah.
utterance. So then it's like, the more you talk, the less people are disinterested in what you have to share, like art wise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, do your piece,
Get
talk
the fuck off.
afterwards.
Talk.
Yeah,
So like ever since then, it's like, okay, as soon as I hit the stage, I'm playing.
dude. That's why I don't do bios anymore.
Yeah.
Every show I do, send us a bio. I just type Dre Magics does not like bios, and I'm like, just say that.
Dude, that's meta.
But yeah, you were going out. You're gonna say something about support, right?
Oh no, yeah,
It's
it
a
was
sax player.
yeah. As a sax player, and I just feel like just go out and support. Like it's really not that hard. It really isn't to take. I mean, there's a lot of people who are 9-to-5s, right? And like it's not that hard to take 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or your drive home, listen to this podcast. Just support like.
Nice.
Share,
Yeah.
share, subscribe.
Share.
But like, support, enjoy, find something that you like.
Yeah.
If you like that T-shirt that that fellow artist is like putting out, like
book
buy
your
it, or share it with a friend. Like,
Don't forget your ball.
Yeah.
don't forget your
Yo, and that's what people don't realize as well. That support isn't always buy a ticket to a show.
Yeah.
Isn't go and do a thing. It comes in buying merch. It comes in just pressing like on a thing, sharing a thing,
Feeding the algorithm.
yeah.
feeding the fucking algorithm.
Like as someone who posts something, like it feels really good to see that someone's seeing something.
Yeah.
When it's
Mm-hmm.
or like recommending it, or like
Validation.
recommending it to your friend.
yeah.
Yeah, sharing our bear video to your group chat.
Yeah.
All two of them.
Yo, real quick, shout out to all our fans who do that for us already. Because, like, honestly, look, I post the social media stuff and I text. We have a group text, and I'm like, oh, this thing's at this many. Dude, you guys have made us happy for like 3 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Just like hooking us up with the support. And you know what, dude, that's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, like more. but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
in the right
that-
direction.
It makes us feel like we're doing something that helps.
Right.
And I think that's what the community needs as a whole, is to believe that they're making correct decisions in regards to helping out the masses of our culture,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to like, oh, I'm just doing it for vanity and for getting
Right.
likes. Like, honestly, bro, if we can make you laugh, tight.
Right.
And that's why we started it,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why we fucking started this pod.
Yeah.
It's the bot one, the laughter.
Yeah.
There's got to be something that we say that just relates to you, like,
Hot dog.
ha.
Hot dog. Hip hip.
Hooray.
Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our Mother's Day kind of start, but mostly Filipino American Heritage Month episode. Well, that's a
That's the start.
mouthful.
I'll
know,
show you.
You know who else is a mouthful? EJ. But yo, thank you so much for all the support. We hope to keep earning your support. Please like, share, comment, subscribe to this video and all our podcast channels on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Also follow us on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all the things. But yo, until then, have a great Filipino American Heritage Month, which is May. We're your hosts, the Dre Magic's fictitious professor, and EJ Villamin. And as always,
Don't forget your bot on. Peace.
Butchie Kick.
O sige na, Pandeez.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Pandesoul.
And check out previous episodes on Spotify and YouTube.
Thanks for laughing, and join us next week, because there's enough Pandesoul to go around.
And don't forget your baon!